if you're inside there, you can turn up the volume, right? Right, Hebrews chapter 4, verses 9 to 11. So there is a special rest still waiting for the people of God. For all who have entered into God's rest have rested from their labors, just as God did after creating the world. So let us do our best to enter that rest. It rhymes as well. Let us do our best to enter that rest. Now, this is something that I preach a lot until it almost becomes like a broken record. Because Paul himself said that the people of Israel had the Sabbath. The people of Israel were given the 10 Commandments, and one of the 10 Commandments is to observe and to honor the Sabbath. But yet, he said that why did God say that, to enter his rest again? That means there is this rest that we have not entered in yet. Tell the person next to you, there is this rest that you have not entered in yet. So, in fact, he went on to be so serious about it when he said that let us do our best to enter that rest. Let us do our best, meaning work hard to enter that rest. A lot of you are working hard at a lot of things. Myself, I'm working hard at a lot of things. But Paul is asking you, it's almost like an oxymoron kind of things, like work hard to enter your rest. And why I always preach about it is because that is the thing that traps us 20 to 40 years old. Alright? I don't know what we call ourselves now. Are we the millennials? Are we the people after the X and Y generation, or the 20 to 40s? And that is the thing that traps us most, because we have not entered his presence. And Paul is always talking about this, coming into his presence, and here in Hebrews itself, to enter this rest, to work hard to enter this rest. And then in Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. We have it on the screen here, so maybe Sylvia can put it up. Matthew chapter 11. You don't have it? You have it? Okay, Matthew chapter 11. Let's read it together. Read on the screen together. 1, 2, 3. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart. And you will find rest for your souls, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Now, I can understand if you are restless and trying to settle down, but this is something that I really, really want to bring into Victory Church right from the beginning. Alright? And last week I preached about it, and today I'm going to preach about it again until we come to a position of rest. So that all restlessness will be out of this place, and we come to a position where there is rest, then we can finally grow. Exodus chapter 33, verse 14 says, the Lord replied, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. By the way, all these verses that I'm reading for you, for me, it's called, what I call it is like, it's enough said kind of Bible verses. Enough said. You don't have to. No, it's good to learn context, where this Bible verse context come from. It's good to dig deep into the context of scripture and things like that. But reading it just like that is enough said already. It's very simple. Jesus is asking you to come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Jesus was actually saying this in reference to a spiritual restlessness that's happening in the state of Israel at the time, because they have 600 over bylaws from the 10 Commandments, Chabang, all the different bylaws that came out, until they're so like they are slave to the law. And Jesus says that I have come to give you rest. The law had became a burden to the people of Israel at the time. And so much so that if your donkey dropped into the drain or the pit, you're not supposed to take it out of the drain. It's like working on the Sabbath. So the people are always trapped in scenarios where, I didn't know that did something wrong, then the Pharisees will come, the Sadducees will come and say that you broke one of the bylaws. So that was the context of Matthew chapter 11 when Jesus says, come to me all you who are weary and burdened. In the Psalms, after Moses, as I was praying just now, the Psalms came to me in remembrance. It says that for all generations you are my dwelling place. That's what Moses said. A lot of times you read the Psalms, you think that it's written by David or David's song leader Asaph, but this one Psalm was written by Moses himself 3,000-4,000 years ago. He said that for all generations you are my dwelling place. And you talk about dwelling place is that where you live. My house in Sutra Damansara is where I live. But is that my dwelling place? Where you live in Subang, where you live in Churas, where you live in BJ. Is that your dwelling place? Is that where your heart is? A dwelling place is where you want to be. Some people can be here sitting down, but you're thinking about fishing. Your heart is somewhere else. Some of y'all love to do something else rather than be here. But is God your dwelling place? So that is a question to ask. Is God your resting place? Is God, when Jesus says, come to me all who are weary and burdened, I will give you rest. Take my yoke, learn from me. I am gentle and humble in heart. You will find rest for your souls. Right? My presence will go with you, I will give you rest. Psalms 127 verse 2 says, in vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat, for he grants sleep to those he loves. He grants sleep to those he loves. So, between the ages of 20 to 40, that's when you will amass the most things in your life. Time passes by the quickest. There's a psychology study that says that when you're growing up between the ages of 0 to say about 10 years old, time seems to pass by very slowly because everything is new. I still remember the first time I brought my youngest son, Travis, to the cinema. It was an IMAX cinema. And he has watched television before, he has watched TV, we have seen movies before, but I remember his eyes when he saw that big screen, like, whoa, like, there's this big screen in front of me. So, a lot of new experiences, a lot of new things. You give something to a child, they will look at it for a long time and they will be amazed with it, but of course, attention span wise, they lose interest in it pretty quickly too. But a lot of things around us when you're at that age is like new. So time passes by very slowly. The 10 to 20, slightly faster, but 20 to 40 is when the time passes by so quickly. It's already Friday. But my son said, oh, I can't wait for Friday to come. So it's like, wow, for me it's like, it's Friday already. What did I do this week? What did I do this week? And it's because we are catching up on so many things in our life. We are running from a place to another place. We are catching up assignment to another assignment. We are catching up on task to another task. And just knocking all the things that you have to do each and every day. And then you go for seminars and you read blogs and you read how Steve Jobs and Elon Musk does it. What time do they wake up? And then you realize that, okay, what I must do is have this schedule, do this because Elon Musk does it, 5 a.m. he does this, 1 hour he meditates, second hour he writes, he looks through his emails, third hour he does this. That's how to be productive. And so 20 to 40 is like that. You want to learn how to be productive. I've been through all these courses before. I want to be productive. I am in some level, I think I am productive. I walk faster than most of my workers. I do things faster than most of my workers. I accomplish things faster than most of my workers. And in the words of Pastor Lemuel, what is the SOP? SOP is use your brains. Alright? So basically, when we work in the corporate world, it's like that. Nobody's going to tell you how to do it. You don't have nowadays supervisors or managers, when you talk to them, there is no such thing as I don't know, because there is always Google, right? There's always Google. You cannot tell your manager, I don't know how to do this, all right? It's come to a point of time where you cannot say that anymore, because information now is at your fingertips. You're supposed to know everything. If you don't know, you're supposed to know how to search for everything. And so there's this pressure to perform, there's this pressure to knock off tasks. And I'm very careful and I'm very conscious of what and how I portray this message to my staff sometimes. And somebody asked me, how do I retain all these millennials who work under me? I told them, don't speak to them, message them, use a lot of emojis. It works. It works. Use a lot of emojis. Because when you speak to them, it's kind of like a tension going on there. It's like a boss telling a worker what to do. Instead, don't speak to them. Let them remind you of the work. Then you help them. And then use a lot of emojis. After you make a strong statement, put hearts there. And put like smiley faces there. So that it will seem that it's not a statement, a bold statement or something like that. I'm telling you it works. Okay? My company is one of the worst paying companies out there, but yet we keep our workers. Why? Because it's like we want to know how to respect the workers. And sometimes it's just the environment that people like to work in, right? And so in this age 20 to 40, we have our first marriage. Some of us our first divorce. A lot of you here, I probably not divorced, but experienced a lot of turmoil in the relationships. I'm sure your first child, you will buy your first car, you will have your first accident, you will have many accidents, you will buy your first house, you will have a lot of firsts. Your first trip overseas, maybe your first couples trip. Some people like to do that, put on Facebook, and first a lot of things. And before you know it, you're 29 years old, like me, you know, and you wonder what happened to the 9 years or that 19 years that has gone by, and you realize that time just went by, and from going to place, what happens is people get tired, people get exhausted, and the presence of God, church, and the people of church tend to take a step back, alright? And the Bible says very clearly, and this is only 4 verses, in vain you rise early and stay up late, toiling for food to eat. In fact, in the Malay proverb, there is one, kais pagi makan pagi, kais petang makan petang. Cari rezeki, right? There is that, what do you call it, like proverb or something like that. He grants sleep to those he loves. I'm going to share with you 2 points today, very quickly. And I'm going to invite the pastors. I want to actually take at least half an hour today to introduce some of our key pastors, leaders, our missionary who's here today. I want to introduce to you, and then we want to spend some time in prayer as a church. In fact, if possible, together with the children also. Point number 1 about rest. It's never been about hard work being wrong. Okay? It's never, sorry, I didn't get my grammar and all those positioning of the words correctly, but I think you will get what I'm trying to say. It's never been about hard work being wrong, but rather the worship of work and hard work that corrupts us. I hope I spelled corrupt correctly. Alright? It's not about hard work being wrong. So don't think that hard work is wrong. When we talk about rest, when we talk about coming to God's rest, means we don't have to do anything anymore. We don't have to work anymore. We don't have to plow the ground. We don't have to water the ground and all this. No, it doesn't mean that. But the worship of work and hard work that corrupts us. Now, this is something that I myself go through and constantly go through, that I have to remind myself not to worship hard work. And this is nothing to do with working smart or working smart rather than working hard. Some people, some preachers, I've heard them say this before, that God asks you to work smart, not hard. In fact, that is so theologically wrong also. I don't think that's right, because you can say that in a talk out there in the world and things like that. Yes, we want to work smart, but I think what God is trying to tell us is not so much about working smart, but instead not to worship hard work. Not to worship hard work. What do I mean by this? I mean by this is in the point of pride. Now, worship something that is something besides God always stems from pride. When you look at your work and when you tell people that you should be like me, working hard, that is like, look at me, I'm working hard. That is putting hard work above everything else already. Remember the story of Mary and Martha. So Mary and Martha, Jesus came, he was invited to their home, together with the brother Lazarus. They were good friends. Jesus came to the home and had a meal, and Martha was busy doing a lot of things, doing a lot of preparations and cooking and just being a good host. Whereas Mary was just at the feet of Jesus, sitting and just marveling at Jesus, just listening to Jesus. And Martha, right at the beginning of the chapter already said that, Jesus, can't you see that I'm busy doing all these things? Can you ask my sister Mary to come and help me? So a lot of times we say that, we shouldn't be like Martha. We shouldn't work so hard. No, I don't think that is the message. If you read properly, I didn't put it up on the projector. If you read properly in that context, alright, the Lord answered in verse 41 in Luke chapter 10. You are worried and upset about many things. You are worried and upset about many things. So is it that Mary choose right because Martha is working hard? No, it's nothing about working hard. But instead, Martha has chosen to worry and be upset over something which is above the Lord Jesus Christ himself. That is what that corrupts us, that worship of hard work. You are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed. Indeed, only one thing is needed, and we had that last year in our sermon series, one thing. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. So what has Mary chosen that is better? It is the worship of the Lord Jesus that she has chosen that is better. It is not the worship of hard work. So is hard work wrong? It's not wrong. It's not wrong. I think I work very hard. Some people don't know it, but I work from home. I don't go in the office. But from home, I work very hard. And my wife is the one that knows the truth about this. I am a very hard worker. But I constantly check myself so that hard work doesn't come above my worship of Jesus. Jesus has to come first. My time with Jesus has to come first. And that means the pride level of me looking at my hard work has to be just cut away slowly, cut away. And I will not come to another person and say that, hey, look at me. This is how hard I'm working. You should be like me, work hard like me. That is what Martha was doing. Ask Mary to come and help me. So I work hard, but I have to be very careful not to worship hard work. Not to worship hard work. In Isaiah chapter 40, verse 31. Isaiah chapter 40, verse 29 to 31. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Even youths grow tired and weary. Young men stumble and fall. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Not be faint. Notice here, you still have to run. Notice here, you still have to walk. What God is trying to say is that when you run, when you walk, you won't grow weary, you will not faint. Okay? It's not that you don't have to run. It's not that there is no more work left to do. But instead, you're coming into God's rest and trusting God. The whole idea of pride is that instead of trusting in your own effort, trusting in your hard work, you're saying, Lord, I trust in you. I trust in you. So that is the difference. Worship Jesus. Do not worship hard work. Trust Jesus. Do not trust your hard work. You still work. You still give your best. The Bible says to be efficient, to excel in what you do. You still do that. But you don't worship your hard work. And at the end of the day, God is going to bless your work because He's going to bless your work because He's graceful to bless your work. Amen? Tell the person next to you, God is going to bless your work. Right? Last week, we just concluded our women's conference, and some of us guys were very much involved in this. The pastors, Yap, and a lot of guys, David, was David there? Eric, the supper, Eric, and did I miss out any guys? No. Sorry? X-Men. What is X-Men? Okay, I'm trying to understand what his pastor is trying to tell me. Slowly do that. Right. And it was pretty exhausting. I can imagine how exhausting it must be for the girls. But it was exhausting for me because I think I did 3 trips to the airport. We did 3 already, right? My mom was asking me how many trips we did. I know we did 2 only, right? 1 only, okay. So both of us did 3 trips to the airport. We came back and we were supposed to play in the morning session. And at the same time, because I was away quite a lot the week before, so I had to work. I had to work this week itself. I was constantly working. And so we were working very hard. Nobody can deny the fact that we worked very hard for this women's conference. And thank God for it because it was a superb conference itself. And in the last afternoon itself, I came back to the hotel to help pack up everything. And I was there for the morning devotion session. I played the bass. I was super exhausted. I texted my sister and said, let me know when lunch is ready. They were having one session, but I went back to the hotel room. I just laid there. I know I only had about 15 minutes to about half an hour. So I texted Karen and said, Karen, when lunchtime is here, just let me know, I'll come down. Because I know right after that, we're going to need our strength again to carry all these things back here. So I just needed that 15 minutes of sleep, which I think is not going to make any difference at all. But before that, I prayed, God, give me strength, because I was very, very, very exhausted. So what happened is, I just blocked myself in bed, just wanted to have a shut eye for about 15 minutes maybe. But I tell you, it was the most amazing experience. After I prayed, and I haven't had this experience for a very long time. How would I put it? It's like my entire body just went into deep sleep. I was conscious, it just went into deep sleep. You know, when you stay in that kind of hotel, the first thought that comes to your mind is that this place might be dirty, right? So what is going on in my body right now? What is this the Holy Spirit or this some other spirit, you know? And that was the question I was asking. But I had the peace. And literally, I went to a deep state of sleep for about half an hour, I think. And I could just feel the Holy Spirit just coming and filling me from the crown of my head to tip my toes. It's just a tingling feeling, just entire body. And I tell you, when I got up right after that, I don't know who was it who called me. And then I saw the text, Terry said, lunch is ready. When I went down, I was totally refreshed. Totally refreshed. I could do all the things I need to do because my pastors, they had other things to do. So most of the things were loaded in my car, we came back here and we put all the things back here. And that was because I had that short window of 30 minutes of sleep. And sometimes the Lord does that. It's not that you don't have to run anymore, you don't have to walk anymore, but you still run, but you won't grow weary. You still walk, you will not faint. And that's what it means. You know, Bible says that in Ecclesiastes, the sleep of the laborer is sweet, whether they will eat little or much. But as for the rich, the abundance permits them no sleep. And the thing is, when you work for the Lord, when you commit your entire work to God, sometimes you will use up so much energy that you get tired, but God is going to give you sweet sleep. The sleep of the laborer is sweet. Tell the person next to you, sweet. Right? And I've seen people, they work so hard, they amass a lot of wealth, but they cannot sleep at night. Even though they are dead tired, even though they are spent, they are really spent already, but they go back, they cannot sleep. I'm telling you, when you dedicate your entire career, your work, your business, your ministry to God, your sleep is going to be so sweet, so sweet. Amen? Right? Next point, quickly. It's never having problems in this world, but instead Jesus has overcome the world for us. And it's in John chapter 16, verse 23. It says, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble. Tell the person next to you, in this world you will have trouble. It's not my words. It's Jesus' words. Trouble comes in what they think? In triplets, right? 3. I would say it's true. I've seen it before. And most of you all can actually tell me it's true. But this is what Jesus says, in the world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. It's never been about not having problems in this world. It's not about that bed of roses. Whoever came out with it is not very thoughtful, because bed of roses is thorny, right? You know the meaning, right? It's never about that. When you come to know the Lord, it's never ever about having that bed of roses. In fact, it's the opposite. Jesus has said a few times, that you have trouble, people will hate you, people will not like you. You still want to follow me, kind of thing. Jesus made it very clear, you will have trouble. But he says, take heart. This is Jesus speaking out, not Paul, not me, not anyone else. He himself said that you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. So it's a matter of rest. It's not that you will never have any problems anymore, but you can rest assured that when you put your trust in Him and not in your hard work, not in your own strength, Jesus will see it through for you. Alright? He has already overcome the world. Anything that you're going to go through, temptations, strife, any problems that you will face with people, betrayal. In fact, last week I attended a very good session called the Influencers Marketplace, something I can't remember, but it's Influencers. And by the way, it's free. It occurs every fortnight. They will invite one very famous person to come to speak. It's free. You just have to pay for the dinner. Buffet dinner is about 25 ringgit. If you don't want to eat dinner, you don't have to pay. And then you get to ask questions. And this week, it was Datuk Jeremy Yap that came. Datuk Jeremy Yap is the founder and the owner of UCSI Group. How many of you all know Jeremy Yap? Datuk Jeremy Yap, he's founder of UCSI. And UCSI have gone beyond education. He started off with 2,000 ringgit, building a small college, a small a tuition center, and then after 7 years, he got the license to be a university, and then all of us know Sedaya and things like that. And now they have hospitals, they have shopping malls, they have, he was putting in every industry they have something. And he started from that point of time. And he says that one of the things that caught my attention when he spoke was that he said that if you have never been betrayed before, you cannot consider yourself as a mentor. That really caught my attention, because I've seen a lot of mentors be betrayed before. And he said, yet I will still continue on being a mentor. Every year he will have 20 people under him. How many of you all know that famous photographer called Kit Chan? He is one of Dato' Jeremy Yap's mentor, and you will know a few others that they posted up on the screen the other day. I can't remember the names, but I remember Kit Chan. And so he says that he had been betrayed so many times before, but yet God has continually called him to mentor people. And the whole thing I like about these influencers is that you can invite your non-believing friends, because they don't talk about, they don't preach the word or anything like that, but they bring in this one influencer, one big guy to come and speak, and then we get to ask him questions. And he said that if you've never been betrayed before, you cannot consider yourself a mentor. And many times he had to go through seasons of depression, and it always attributes back to the point where he was betrayed by one of the people he has mentored. And Jesus says that you will face all these problems, you will face all this betrayal, you will face all this people just hating on you. But Jesus says that I have overcome the world. Amen? Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind is in Christ Jesus. Christ Jesus. Right? It's not that you will never have any problems in this world, right? But Jesus says that in every situation, bring your prayer, bring your petition, present this request to God. And the peace of God, this peace that you cannot understand, and people will look at you. How are you able to sleep in this storm? That same peace will come, right? In Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3, you will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you. In 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse no, this one I'll skip, alright? You will have problems. Even my children know that. They get into trouble with my wife very often. And my wife had to discipline them in the house. I discipline them sometimes, but I think in the home, Phony is more strict. And yesterday something funny happened. It was raining the whole day, and Phony already told them right from the beginning that they're going to get a spanking because they did something wrong. But we had guests in the house, so we had to wait for the guests to go back before they spanked them. And I know for a fact that my children, they actually pray right now before they get punished, right? And it's hard on me because Travis especially, he will say things like, Daddy, I pray, but God didn't answer my prayers. Yesterday was the funniest because it was raining the whole day. So they went to bathe, and Pastor Lydia and Samuel was about to leave already. So they came down. They were all dressed in a few clothes, a few shirts. I was thinking, hey, what's going on? Why you wear food? Oh, it's cold. And then now they are back, they pretended to sneeze because it's cold, the raining the whole day. Oh, then Terry said, you don't know, man, today raining the whole day is cold. I was wondering what's going on. And then after that, of course, the guests left, and then Phony had to give them a good spanking. And then after that, spank. And usually spank, they will cry, right? I mean, a big cry, right? But this one is like, Phony was wondering, it's so funny today, their reaction, like, not so like the normal reaction. And after that, Phony noticed, oh, okay, wearing like 3 or 4 pants. After that, took off the pants, really, 3 or 4 underwears. Like, it was so funny that I don't think she punished them after that. Now, God is not like that. He doesn't come to us to spank us or anything, but we will get in trouble sometimes, right? Just like my kids, and they will pray. But, anything that you face, Jesus has overcome. Jesus has overcome. And I'm going to end here. As I said just now, I want to spend at least half an hour. I want to introduce some of the pastors and our missionaries to you, and then we want to spend some time in prayer. And I really want all of us to really focus on what Paul is talking in Hebrews chapter 4, working hard to coming into his rest. You will still need to work hard. You will still need to do a lot of things. But coming into the rest of God means to put your trust in him and to have passion for the things that he has passion with. Why do I put so much emphasis on getting my whole family to just love God and to love the things of God? And you see me doing so much for various ministries and things like that. It's not that I want to accumulate all these ministries for myself, but I think I've come to a point where I've learned that when I put God first in everything that I do, in every aspect of my life, God will see me through in every areas of my life. Amen. So without further ado, I'm going to invite Pastor Daniel. Let's come forward. This is Pastor Daniel. Give him a clap, and he's our worship leader. Pastor Asa come. Pastor Shavi is outside. She is our children's pastor. Pastor Beth and Arthur, will you just step forward? This is Art and Banner. They are missionaries. They couldn't make it last week, but today they are here. They're here, and let's just give them a warm welcome. Right? And we are here to serve you. We are here to serve you. And what's going to happen next is we're going to pray. I'm going to end this time with prayer. And I want to see if I can get the kids to come in. And we're just going to go all across this room praying for one another. Alright, starting with the pastors. Let's just go out and pray for prophesy, pray. We have another half an hour. And we're just going to ask God to fill each and every one of you here. And if you feel that too, you can say, Pastor, I want you to pray for this. I want you to pray for this. I'm struggling in my workplace now. And now this is not the cinema anymore. We can pray until kingdom come, you know. And I want us to be very serious about experiencing God's rest in our life. Children, adults, you know, young, old. We want to come into God's rest today. Today is the day where you no more rely on your hard work. You no more worship your hard work. You no more worship your intellect. Worship your whatever knowledge you have gained in the past, experience you gained in the past, or that position that has been given to you. Instead, you worship Jesus now. And all these things that God has blessed you with will be a blessing to other people. Will be a blessing to your family, to yourself, to other people. Amen? So let's all stand now as we end this prayer, and then the pastors will go forth. And then we have various leaders. We have Caris, Samuel, we have Ming Yan and Yao, ushers. You know, we have different people here. Just go around praying for one another. Don't just wait for the pastors to come. Funny thing is, as I'm doing this, I don't know why. I think God is showing me something that's very strange. In fact, I feel that I've been here before, and some of you are really going through a lot of turmoil right now in your work life or just life as a whole. And I want to take this time as we reflect on God's word to come into His rest, to come so that Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened, I will give you rest." Tell yourself that Jesus says, "I will give you rest." It's time to come out of wandering in the desert. It's time to come into the promised land. That is the true rest. Hallelujah. Let's bow our heads, close our eyes. Let's pray. Hallelujah. Father, I can see, oh God, that you're moving so mightily among us, oh God. And I know, oh God, that you love each one of us individually so much, oh God. And you know the things that we are going through. Even before we say it, before we even tell someone, Lord, you can see. Holy Spirit, you can see. We surrender our lives to you, God. We surrender our hearts to you. We surrender our careers. We surrender our jobs, or whatever's left of our jobs. We surrender our families, our homes to you, God. For far too long we have struggled, far too long we have strived, God. And we know there is a better way. You have shown us in your word there is a better way. The better way is to come to you so that you will give us rest. Set us free, Lord Jesus. Set us free right now. Lord, as the pastors just go forward and pray for people and just prophesy to people, continue to pray. Wherever you are, if you feel led to pray for someone, if you feel led to go up to someone and pray for that person, just go ahead and pray for that person.
There's
prophecy. Hallelujah. Some mothers in the mother's room, you feel led to pray for them. Go and pray for them. When the oceans rise and down this road, I will soar with you above the storms. Father, you are king over the floods. I will be still, know you are God. When the oceans rise and down this road, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, Father, you are king over the floods. I will be still, know you are God. Oh, yes, Lord, be still and know that you are God. You are King of kings and Lord of lords. I rest my soul. I rest my soul in Christ alone. Know His power. Know His power. Quietness and trust. Quietness and trust. When the oceans rise and down this road, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the floods. I will be still, know you are God. When the oceans rise and down this road, I will soar with you above the storm. Father, you are king over the floods. I will be still, know you are God. I will be still, know you are God. I will be still, know you the storm.
So in Christ heaven's door. Spirit touch your church, stands without a soul with passion. I want to pay for love when Jesus cares for me. Let your rain fall on me. Let your rain fall on me. Let your rain fall on me.
right along the lines of Pastor Joel's word today. And the Lord showed me that this church is an oak tree. And if you know anything about oak trees, they are very solid and they are very strong. And they can withstand a lot of rain and heat and wind. And it's because their roots go so deep. And as Pastor was talking about finding rest and not fearing and not being anxious, the Lord wants to make each of us an oak tree. And you are on good soil here. The Lord is showing that you are on good soil. This church is an oak tree because its roots are very deep and in good soil. And the Lord says in the Word, because we ask, well, how do we do that? Well, the Lord says that I am the vine and you are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bring forth much fruit. Without me, you can do nothing. So we need to stay in the secret place with him and dwell. As Pastor was saying, we need to abide and dwell in him, and we will become the oak trees with our roots planted. And the Lord says here, he is like a tree planted by the water that sends out its roots by the stream and does not fear when heat comes, for its leaves remain green. And it's not anxious in the year of drought, for it does not cease to bear fruit, because its roots, again, are deep. It also says to grant those who mourn in Zion, to give them a beautiful headdress instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the garment of praise instead of faint spirit, that they may be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified. So those that have ears this morning hear, the Lord is saying to you, abide and dwell, and you will be that oak tree, that you will be resting, that you will not be anxious, that you won't fear, and you will bear much fruit.
Let's wrap this afternoon up. Some of you guys are already looking forward to leave. But I don't know, I think we could just go on and on and on, you know. This is hope. This is hope, you know. I like what Pastor Art told me a couple of days ago. We are converting our house into a home. Yes. You know, and finally, we were all this while converting our house, and finally we are home. You know, I don't know about you, but every time I come here, there's so much of peace, and there's you're just in rest. You know, it feels like that there's no forces out there that can come in here. You know, it's just so peaceful, and the presence of God is in this place. And Pastor Beth just confirmed, you know, that this church will be an oak tree, you know, firm and strong, you know. And I want to encourage and challenge each one of us here to hold on to this tree, you know, in this place. You know, as long as you are here, I can assure you that the winds out there is not going to blow you away. The enemy is not going to come and take you away. You know, whatever may come against you, just hold on to this tree. And this tree is a representation of Christ himself. It's a representation of Christ himself. You know, the foundation is rooted here. You know, how many of you received the touch this morning? You know, and we want to pray for you, a prayer of blessing before we go. And that even if you walk out from this place, the presence of God will go with you. Will go with you. Let's bow our heads. Father, we thank you for this time. We thank you for your presence in this place. We thank you for the word that you have given the church, Father. And Lord, we thank you for every individual in this place. And God, I pray that even as we leave, that even as we walk out from this place, Father, Lord, your presence goes before us. We don't want to leave this place if your presence doesn't go with us, Father. That, Lord, we pray that as we step out from this new life, oh God. We speak renewal of mind, renewal of heart, and a renewal of the spirit, God. As I pray that even as we walk out there, that Lord, no weapon that forms against us will prosper. But Lord, it's your plans that will prevail. That Lord, we will grow from glory to glory, Father. That Lord, as we walk out there, I pray, Holy Spirit, that everything we touch will come to life. We thank you, Lord. I pray that you bless this church. That Lord, wherever they go, whatever they do, Father, I pray be with them, oh God. That the peace and the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ be with each one of you. And Lord, we thank you. And in Jesus' name we pray, and all God's people say, Amen. 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 Come on, give God a clap. Please do stay back for fellowship. And don't forget, next week, right, next week we have a special guest. It's not easy to get him. Actually, he's supposed to be here today. You know, and he was last minute pulled away for some events out there. And we are privileged to have him again here. Come in here and see what God can do in Mr. Bean's life. I know many of you have lost faith in Mr. Bean after all those series that you have seen. Even I don't trust this guy doing stuff anymore. But you know, God is still great. Alright? So come, bring your friends, pull your neighbors along, you know, and come and bring the kids. You know, you guys are gonna enjoy it. Even the adults. Alright? Every one of us here still got some soft spot for Mr. Bean. Right? You know, the series can be 20 years old now, but when you watch it, you will still watch it over and over again. Alright, so see you guys next week. Come and join us at 10 a.m. for our pre-service prayer. Stay on our Facebook page. If you don't know, go to Victory Church page, go and like us, and all the updates will be there. And if you want to feel and experience today's service again, the live feed is there. Right, go and play. If you missed the worship, just go and worship along throughout the week with us. Alright, and also we will keep you posted on our Wednesday Encounter Night event. Stay tuned. If it's not via WhatsApp, it will be on our Facebook. Alright? See you guys next week, same place, same time. God bless you.